All right, what's up, and good morning, everybody. This is Al, and welcome to my channel. This is Alex, Just My Thoughts. And basically, I used to have another channel that was under the same name, but not Just My Thoughts. Basically, the channel was based on deliveries, just and other things that I talked about. And I shut it down mainly. Just clean the slate and just shut it down. Because I felt with this one that the only thing I wanted to do is take things that come across, and if I feel talking about it, then I will. I'll talk about it. All right, to clean that up. But anyway, like I said, I used to do gig deliveries as a side hustle as a retiree, 2021 to 2025. And one of the things when I came into this game as a veteran and coming from a career and seeing the gig game on the plate that we were eating off of, I never seen it as something that I wish I was doing other than my career. You get what I'm saying? I never ever felt that the gig game was the best thing to do, right? I recognized it from the jump that it was like having a newspaper route, uh, delivering pizzas for a restaurant, maybe a Chinese restaurant, because these were the things that mainly delivered back in the day as far as food goes. Pizza, Chinese food. You didn't see anything from a McDonald's coming to somebody's door dropping off a bag. Um, let's see, groceries, things like that being delivered to people's homes from people in their cars, personal cars. You never seen things like this. So I never saw it as going in a level that was going to be great, because it was not set up for drivers to actually win. It was always set up for the owners, CEOs, the shareholders, things like that. It was set up for them guys to win, right? It was only set up for drivers to make a little bit extra money if that was your lane. If you didn't have a stable career that gave you, let's say, 150 plus a year, right, that could make you comfortable, depending on your living conditions, depending on what your style of life is, right? 100, 150. Me, myself, I'm not even in that range, right? But I was still able to recoup bills. It didn't help me pay my bills. It helped me recoup. It helped me recoup my bills. That's what it did. And I used it for that reason. I also used it when I first got into it for goal purposes. I wanted to get some things done around my home, and I made the money and I paid cash to get it done. So that was some of the things and values that I saw that came from the gig game. I had been doing videos, and I remember every time in my videos, I always told people, I'll never tell anybody to jump in this full strength and rely on it to be your daily way of living, because it's going to do something, right? It's too many elements, too many variables. And if you don't think ahead to understand those, then what you're going to do is you're going to get surprised, right? You're going to do things that's going to build, and you're going to rely on the gig game to cover it. And it can, right? Let's say if it was 2021, it would still be able to carry a person's livelihood. Because 2021, like I said, people always say, well, we can't go back to 2021. And my question is, why not? That is when it made sense to be doing this, right? If you wanted to say it could sustain a livelihood, that is when it made sense. Imagine making $300 to $400 in so many hours. I'm not talking about this 12-hour, 15-hour thing that everybody was talking about later on down the road. These were the newbies coming in, and they had this big thing about 12 hours here and 13 hours there, and they make $200 to $300 a day. We were making that in less than 2 to 3 hours in 2021. that money was like going to a tree and just pulling down leaves of cash, right? For making deliveries. You had your gas covered. You didn't have to worry about doing oil changes as fast because you made enough money that you didn't have to be out on the road putting a lot of miles on your vehicle. If you had the right market, right? If you had the right market, you didn't have to worry about these things. Gas prices, yeah, they were up and down, but the money that came in met the demand, right? So the money was there. You didn't have these problems. So as you move further and move forward, like 2022, that's when everything changed and the dynamic of the gig game went from right to left. It went down, right? You start seeing these orders coming across your phone, $3, $4, $5, and $6. Now, let's move up to 2026, and now we got this so-called war going on. And what is it doing? It's causing gas prices to go up. Depending on your market, where I'm at, gas prices roughly is $3.36 down here where I'm at. In other places, as high as $5, $6, right? And if you are doing gig delivery, how do you work those numbers? How do you make that work? Right? Because you got to remember you're delivering to people, and people are cutting losses just like you. So eating out, going to the grocery stores, uh, having things delivered to their home may be something that they're taking off the table. They always knew they can go shop anyway. Once upon a time, they always knew they can go to a restaurant on their own. Once upon a time, they always knew at work they can leave and go to lunch, or they can bag it and bring their lunch in, which is probably what a lot of them are doing right now anyway. So you got to ask yourself, what are you going to do now? Are you going to ride this wave and wait for it to end, and then the gas prices go down, and then hopefully customers will come back and start needing the service that they once upon a time used to use? Or are you gonna get wise? In my mentality, I would have turned in, which is what I did a long time ago. I gave up on gig deliveries back in 2025. I said that was it. I seen the light and I was done. Grocery game was my last leg to stand on when it came to side hustle with the gig delivery. That was my bread and butter. I made good money doing groceries. And then when that dropped and I started seeing the numbers drop in the grocery game, that's when I said, okay, I'm done, because the restaurants really don't pay anything, right? And I didn't like doing restaurants anyway. I love doing just the groceries, pick them up, go deliver them, didn't shop, right? Didn't do any shopping pays hardly, just mainly poured into a stall. They put them in your vehicle, you go deliver them, come back, making $30 to $40 a pop. That was good money for the need, right, of where I was at for my market, because you only drove 7 to 8 miles for your deliveries. And that made good money for a retiree. That was something I did on the side. Just pull up in the parking lot and wait for the orders to come in, pull into a stall, get loaded up, drop off, come back, get another one, drop off, come back, get another one, take a break, come back home. $150, $200 tops, and less than 8 deliveries. Hardly no lot of miles, wasn't hardly wasting any gas, and didn't mind doing it, right? So it made sense. But when that happened, it was time to go. So now the writing is on the wall, right? And it has to be one of them situations where you're saying, you know, I love it, but man, how can I sustain in this? Right? How can I sustain in this? You got people still trying to do this and trying to make it seem like this is still the best thing going on. And it's really not. I mean, uh you have no benefits. You can't take off when you really want to. No matter what nobody tell you, you don't have that freedom. You really don't, because your money only comes when you report, right? You can't call a gig service and tell them you're going on vacation and you want to use your vacation leave with pay. It doesn't happen. If something happens to you, you can't go see anybody to get a disability, right? There's no HR, there's no AFLAC, none of that. I mean, you probably can get AFLAC if you want it, but that's on you. It wouldn't be through the company or anything like that, right? To get your money if something was to happen to you. But you just don't have that type of benefit. You just don't. So when people sit there and say they have their freedom, all depends on what their definition is, because freedom is free, but it's not free. If you don't report, you don't make no money for that day. Can't call in sick and still get paid. So really, the writing's on the wall. It's not the same as it was. And this right here in 2026, today is March 17th. So I'm telling you, March 17th, 2026, there is no way you can still see the gig delivery game as being a success. Now, if you're doing it for secondhand reasons, then yeah, you can wait it out because your primary is still being taken care of. Secondary, nobody should be sweating it. If you want to keep doing it, then hey, knock yourself out. But primary, yeah, you got a big choice, a big decision to make. And you got to ask yourself, why am I still here? What would be cool if they took it back to 2021 and to keep this going, pay drivers. If they all of a sudden drivers wake up today and all of a sudden they start seeing these $25 and $30 runs, because the game has to keep going. And if the CEO's going to step up, then they're going to have to bite the bullet and share that money they're making and say, you know what, give it to the drivers, keep them going. That would be the right thing to do. So if that is happening, right, because like I said, I don't do deliveries anymore. That's how I'm going to end it. If that is happening, hit me in the comment and say, man, they took it back to 2021. If they didn't, then why not? Because now it's not the pandemic. Rest in peace to those that lost their lives, of course. But this is like that, except people not losing their lives. Well, they are, because you got people being hurt, right? Being killed, being wounded, because bombs are flying. So I guess it is like that when you really think about it. So rest in peace to those that lost their lives as well. But at the same token, are they going to step up, pay their drivers? Drop a comment, like and subscribe. Just my thoughts. With that said, I'm out. Peace.